I guess I'm just being like, can I do this right now or no? Like, do I have to wait till tomorrow?
No, you can do it right now.
But I can't if you don't show me.
I'm trying to get it going right now. I don't know. My thing is a little different because I use Chrome for everything, and I know you like to use Safari, so I'm trying to keep it in your native stuff because that's what you.
It doesn't matter. I really don't like.
Okay.
Whatever is like easier for you.
Yeah, it's the same. Okay. Now anything you watch, everyone's gonna watch, and you're live. So. It's never going to be the same link, right? Because that was your old live stream. So now this is your new live stream. When it actually says live in the corner, that's when you're live.
Okay.
From 16 minutes ago. Hold on one sec.
Let's fix some food.
You're live right now.
I'm gonna have a sandwich and then I will come in here and do this.
Okay, then let's end the stream.
Okay.
And we'll start back up. So
Okay.
it'll just be, well, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Just let it run. And then when you watch something, it will just pop up and you'll just be watching, just like that.
Okay.
So you'll be in the bottom and your thing will be there, and then when you...
So it's still going right now?
It's going right now, yeah. So when you come up with whatever, you're going to put for your title thing will be up here. And then Instagram, Cash App, Twitter, whatever you want to use will be at the bottom, and then you just talk and do that.
Okay, sweet.
It's right though. That's exactly it's the right setup. set a jet.
That's interesting.
So you're already streaming, you're already on, everything's good. Well, it's really fast. Okay. So you're live, everything's good. Anything that you put on this, whatever you open up, it's gonna just show. So you can have as many tabs as you want, and you can look at anything you like.
Okay.
And just talk. Everyone will hear you.
Okay.
That's it. That's the whole game.
Okay. And will it record it?
YouTube records all your streams on your channel, and then you can go back and edit them.
So when I'm done, what do I do?
You're just gonna go to the first one here where it says live stream, and hit end,
Okay.
and then go down to this one, and hit stop.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Anything over here?
Yeah. So once you hit end and stop, take the headphones off, and just flip this switch to the left, and that's it.
Okay.
Do it. I'll have it up just and watch it and make sure that everything's working smooth.
I love you.
I love you. It's gonna be so fun. Man, that's fucking sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet.
Sweet. Yeah, pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Really.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to watch a video about narcissistic mothers and basically just react to that and tell stories of okay, this one looks hilarious. So
Some people with childhood PTSD have a lot of room to recover from their parents' abuse when they were little. But for some adults who were abused as a child, manipulative parents, they just keep the abuse alive. And it would be so much easier if you could recognize abuse for what it is and be clear about it and either.
okay, this is a really good starting point because recognizing abuse for what it is something that I was completely incapable of doing. I still to this day really struggle with what is abuse, what isn't abuse, what am I doing that's abusive, what have people done to me that's abusive. It really, for me, it was just like I don't know, I tolerated so much abuse as a child that I wasn't able to recognize it as abuse. I just thought that's kind of how life was.
Cut that person out of your life or just see clearly that their tactics are crazy.
Seeing clearly, that's something that my life was so filled with confusion, just constantly feeling so confused, because when someone's abusing you and you're a child, you don't know that it's abuse, and you feel that it feels wrong, but the person that's abusing you tells you that it's not wrong, and so you just feel just super confused all the time. Like confusion, like is just the word.
And they're abusive. But when the abuse involved dismissiveness of your feelings and your safety, the trauma wound in you, by its very nature, makes it hard for you not to dismiss your feelings and what you need. It makes it hard for you to take yourself seriously, or to know what you even should take seriously. Like if your parents didn't teach you how to do that, it just didn't develop. And now it's for you to figure out as an adult, and thank goodness, whatever you went through as a kid, this is possible. You can teach yourself now. My letter today is from a woman I'll call Rose, and she has asked for a reality check about a very worrying note she got from her mom. And she writes, "Hi, Anna. After a lifetime of being dismissed and being told my feelings were wrong, I have a hard time discerning reality." I'm going to circle that. Got my fairy pencil. We're going to read through this one time, and I'll circle what I want to come back to, and then we'll go through again. I'll see if I can help you, Rose. Okay. I had a physically abusive dad who lost custody of me when I was 7.
Also, hopefully, if anybody's in the chat right now, like, please say hi, hello, let me know that you're there.
I realized I've been dealing with a lifetime of emotional abuse from my mom when recently she threatened to take her own life after I confronted her about her dismissiveness toward me.
Okay. Already, right off the bat, suicide and threatening suicide, experiencing suicide attempts from my narcissistic abusive mother is something that I could talk just at length about. A really weird thing happened recently where I was talking to my mother about how her suicide attempts, how I still carry the weight of that with me, and how I'm worried that if I don't act a certain way or be a certain way, that she might kill herself, because she had attempted suicide twice in the past. And her response to me was, she literally said, "Oh, Katie, get a grip." She told me to get a grip. Okay, and then our next phone call after that was...
You want to make sure you're not in full screen in YouTube.
Okay.
If you want it to be full screen, you want it to be like that, because then your face will be here,
Oh.
and then you won't be blocking it, but also when you go full screen, it's a different setting. So we'll have to change it if you want it to be full screen like that, but we have it set like this so you can go between them easily.
Okay.
So this is what you want.
Okay.
I'll show you later, but it looks good.
It does look good.
Yeah, it looks good. It sounds
Okay.
good.
I love you.
It looks great.
Thanks,
It sounds really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. So you're listening to it?
No, I wasn't listening, but I just tested it.
Oh.
Yeah. I just like checked to make sure the quality is good. I said to make sure everything's good.
Cool.
But I won't listen to them unless you're like, hey, I want you to listen to this.
I want you to listen. Yeah. If you want to, it's obviously, if you don't want to.
I love you. It's your thing. And
No,
kind of
I
doing
want you
it.
to listen so bad.
Okay. Does your voice sound good in the headphones? Everything sounds good?
Yeah. I actually can't really hear myself, to be
Okay.
honest. But I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I can hear my own voice.
Okay, good. Yeah. Because it sounds everything sounds perfect.
Okay.
Excellent.
So wait, babe. When it says like top chat and there's a one, does that mean somebody's in there?
Yeah, me.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, it'll populate. You
I
know.
know.
You just gotta be like, hey, I'm live streaming.
I didn't know if the one meant me.
No, it's 0.
I'm not gonna share it with people.
Oh, okay.
I want to like have this as like something separate. I don't want like
Gotcha.
people from like.
Yeah, I mean something you might share it on Reddit or something like that.
Yeah.
You can. Yeah. I'm just saying like once you kind of like go, It's only gonna take
Okay.
a few people.
So I could go on Reddit right now and be like, yo, I'm a survivor of narcissistic abuse. Like, I'm about to comment on a video, join me on it, and that's how people will find it.
You can do it that way. You can. There's a bunch of ways. We're gonna have to make a new Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
We just have to build the empire. You know, you gotta have Instagram, Twitter, and you do Twitter once every other day. Just one little thing that's like inspirational. That says like, you know, if this happened to you, it's happened to all of us. Blah, you know, whatever the thing is. We start to accumulate. Sharing little things. I mean, it's just you're gonna be really good at it. You know how to do stuff like that. It's just gonna be. That's all I want. Okay, go left.
Okay. So I'm just practicing right now.
Yeah, you're practicing. I mean, it sounds perfect. And it's just going across here.
I love you. Okay, so anyways, getting back to it, after that previous conversation where I told her I was sort of carrying all this tension and worry, our next conversation literally was her telling me that, how do I put this into words? Basically that I was responsible for helping her to commit suicide in the future. Like, she was telling me that, like, hey, if I have a stroke and I can't, I don't know, if I'm like incapacitated in some way, what she said was, I need you to make sure my pain pills are close to me. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she was like, well, I don't want to be alive if I can't, I can't see my grandson, and I can't function in this way or that way. And she was like, and I need you to not tell your sisters about this because you're stronger than them, and I need basically. And so I was like, are you asking me to help you commit euthanasia like in the future? And she was like, yes. And the thing about that is I had literally just said to her the time before that her committing suicide or wanting to commit suicide was something that was a great source of anxiety and tension for me. And her response was for me to get a grip. And then our next conversation was literally her asking me to promise to help her commit suicide in the future.
Oh, okay. In family therapy, she said the suicide threat was a joke that she learned from her former coworkers when times get stressful. The last family session we had together, she spent literally screaming at me. The therapist was too overwhelmed to intervene, and that's when I decided to stop family therapy, distance myself, just to focus on my own individual healing. My biggest resentment I have toward her is her not protecting me when I came to her for help after her boyfriend molested me.
Oh.
I was a preteen, and he touched me inappropriately when tucking me into bed. She happened to be standing behind him at the time it happened, but she, quote, didn't see. I confronted her the following day, and she told me that didn't happen.
Oh.
And she proceeded,
That didn't happen. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. If I had $1 for every time that my mom told me that didn't happen, I mean, I would, I would be living, by the beach and own a yacht. So that didn't happen. It's classic narcissistic, abusive behavior.
to invite him into our lives for the next 6 years. Letting go of the resentment and finding forgiveness has been my biggest struggle.
Letting go of the resentment and finding forgiveness. Okay, that's the thing that the narcissistic abuser puts on us. It's on us. We are the ones at fault if we can't forgive them. One of my last conversations with my mom, she very covertly started talking about forgiveness, and she was like, I've really been thinking about forgiveness a lot, and I really genuinely thought that she was gonna tell me about forgiving herself or I don't know, it sounded lovely. And that's what's so tricky about having a narcissistic, abusive parent is they really know how to wrap things up in these really passive, weird ways. Where really what she was trying to do was just say, you need to forgive me and just move on, which on the surface sounds like reasonable and nice, but you can't forgive someone for something they've done in the past if they're still doing it to this day and they're still actively abusing you in the present. And that's like the thing that just blows my mind, that like they can't wrap their head around that. My mom can't wrap her head around that. I'm like, you're still abusing me today, you're still being abusive today. And so like you want to talk about how forgiveness is so lovely. She started going on this like big rant about how she this lady at the drugstore is always really mean to her when she goes and gets her prescriptions filled, because of course she has to be the victim in every scenario, and how this lady's always judging her for her Klonopin prescription. And she was like, but I've been really trying to practice forgiveness, and I forgive her for how shitty she is towards me, ... which is why you should forgive me, because I'm being big enough to forgive this lady at the drugstore. You should be forgiving me. But forgiveness, when they talk about the word forgiveness, they're not actually talking about forgiveness. What they're trying to do is tell you that you need to just accept and tolerate their abusive behavior, right? So like you're not like forgiving their abuse from the past. They're encouraging you to look past and just tolerate how they're treating you in the present. And when they wrap it up in this tricky way of forgiveness and forgiveness and forgiveness, it makes you the person that's receiving the abuse start to feel like you're being a shitbag because you're not being forgiving. And it's just this weird, tricky mindfuck that narcissistic, abusive parents love. They love this weird thing of forgiveness, and it's just bullshit.
In my healing process, recently my mom sent a group message to me and my fiance that left me feeling dysregulated. It read, "Sam and Rose, I hope you're both doing well and that the wedding planning is going smoothly. I wanted to wait until all the..."
Love that. We always open up with something really kind and soft, right? Always like, oh, I hope everything's going so great for you. But what's next?
Tests were done and an indefinite diagnosis was confirmed. But I also didn't want to regret not saying my goodbyes just in case.
Oh, the drama. Oh my God. Oh, my goodbyes. Oh my God.
I've been suffering persistent, painful headaches and dizziness going on day 6 now, in which I was bedridden in the first 3 days. Urgent care doctor wanted to rule out stress versus brain tumor or aneurysm in the head.
Stress, okay? This word is like triggering for me because my mother was always talking about stress and stress tests. Like whenever I would when I was in high school and I just had like a general concern, like, hey, yearbook photos are coming up and I need like a shirt for a yearbook photo. She would immediately dive into, oh my gosh, like I'm having this stress test from the doctor tomorrow and I just can't because my stress test levels last week were off the charts. And I still like to this day like don't even know what that means, but my mom was constantly talking about her stress tests and using that as a way to deflect any type of need that I had at any point in time.
And scheduled me for an MRI for tomorrow. Meanwhile, my symptoms persist while I'm working more hours to support 3 dev teams.
Love it. Oh my God, like I'm working so hard. To support so much stuff, and it's like there's no way you can argue with that. Like you can't be like like there's no like it's just like trump card after trump card after trump card. Like there's no way to like when you have a need as a child and your mom is just constantly talking about her stressors, stress this, stress that, I'm working so hard to support X, Y, and Z, but you don't feel supported at all. Like you genuinely, like as a child, don't even feel one iota of like the support that she's claiming she's giving you all the time, and then making you feel bad that you don't feel that support. It's so confusing. It is just unbelievably confusing because there's like these everything that's good is turned into something bad, everything that's bad is turned into something good, and everything in between is just upside down and sideways until you just don't know how to feel. And really all you want at that point as a child of a narcissistic mother is, I will literally do anything to just like have you feel better. Like I'll literally do fucking anything so that you can feel better, because I don't want anyone to suffer, especially not you. You're my mother and I love you. And so anytime that I have a need, it's like just shoved anywhere, but except for up in front. But it's just so, it was always so strange to me that my mother was constantly talking about how much she was supporting me, yet I never, ever, ever felt supported. And I didn't even really realize it at the time. And so as an adult, I carried that with me and didn't know what support even felt like. What I thought was being supported meant that somebody else had to suffer and suffer greatly. And I didn't know what support actually felt like. I didn't know what it meant. I just knew that when my mother was supporting me, quote unquote, that meant that she was under extreme stress and duress and was just suffering incredibly. And so supporting me equals bad, and that's, I don't even know what else to say but that.
Rose, I'd said that I couldn't go back in time to undo the hurts that I had unintentionally caused you in your
classic.
childhood for doing what I thought was right at the time, given what I
Classic.
had and could. I had attempted to correct my actions and responses, but they weren't good enough nor acceptable.
Oh no.
Hence,
Oh no, the daughter didn't accept her. Like, oh my god, this is so fucking stupid.
we are at where we are now, a total disconnection. Nevertheless, I will always love you and forgive every
Nevertheless, I will always love you and forgive you. Okay, literally the last message that my mother sent me was on New Year's Eve, where she said, I love you even now. Because I just genuinely tried to talk to her about some things that were really painful for me, where I was like, hey, like I want to talk through this. I want to get through this. And even like boundaries that she was crossing in the present consistently, to which she eventually admitted that she was quote unquote retaliating against me for accusing her of doing things she hadn't done, which was just so wild to me. And so I was just like, look, like, I'm sorry, but like, what I said was, I need space. And her response was, good, I need space too. And that was that. Okay. And then she sent me a message, a few weeks later saying, I love you even now, as if like, oh my gosh, like this sweeping grace that she's giving me, that she loves me even though I've been doing a horrible thing by accusing her. Dude, like, I cannot even like put words to this, but like, I love you and forgive you even now. Oh, bravo.
everything that you have said and done that brought me heartache and sadness.
Ugh.
Sam, okay, this is the fiance. Sam, you are an extraordinary, loving, caring, and considerate human being that I have ever met in my life. I'm so thankful and proud that you're going to be my future son-in-law. You will be a wonderful husband to Rose, and an amazing father to your children. Thank you for making our lives so joyful. I will never ever forget all the little things that you had said and done to and for me. I've already loved you and celebrated you as the son I wish to have.
So this is classic too. My mom loves to do this. She loves to like just shower praise on me and my sister's significant others because she wants them to have this opinion of her that is like irrefutable, right? So like if one of us starts being like, man, my mom really hurt my feelings, our partner is like, well, that's crazy because like your mom's like so nice to me and your mom is like even nicer than my mom and like whatever. And so like she's already like trying to like groom them into not seeing reality and not being on our side and being on her side.
Ever since you two were committed to each other.
Which is crazy too because like in the same breath, she'll talk so much shit. Like so much shit. Like I cannot... One of the last times I talked to my mom, she was like talking about how my youngest sister Jamie's boyfriend Daniel, she was like, oh my gosh, like Daniel loves me so much. Daniel, he loves me even more than he loves his own mom. That's how great of a mom I am. And like that's why you should accept me as like this perfect mom. And like, oh my god, okay, let's continue.
Of always, Mom. So then Rose says, my gut tells me this is a cry for attention. But as I mentioned earlier, I have a hard time trusting my
Whoa, I would never have the balls to say that to my mom. I would never have the balls to be like, this is a cry for attention. Oh my god. Good for her.
perception. To me, the message felt unapologetic, guilting, blame shifting, and manipulative. I would appreciate your take on this and your suggestions on how to proceed. Thank you for all you do, Rose. Oh, Rose. I'm telling you, I had trouble keeping a straight face. And normally I don't read letters out loud where I am not able to like talk about them respectfully. And so I'm sort of walking a tightrope here. I want to respect the situation and I respect you tremendously. Congratulations on getting married and on having some distance between this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's go through the letter. You asked, I'm going to go through this and tell you what I heard. All right. A lifetime of being dismissed and being told your feelings are wrong. Yes. Oh my gosh. I believe you, Rose. I believe you. I believe you. That is what happened. There are just so many. Now, as a rule, I believe the people who write to me. And if I take your letter, if I didn't believe somebody, that could be a reason I don't take their letter. I don't want people, I can't answer all the letters. That's not why. But occasionally I just think, ooh, somebody doesn't really have perspective here. So I always have an open mind, like maybe Rose doesn't have perspective on this. Maybe she's taking this too hard. But it was the letter from your mom that made it so clear, like, you are not tripping, Rose. This is like crazy talk. Okay. You had a physically abusive dad, and he lost custody of you when you were 7. That right there. Well, at least he lost custody of you. At least that left your life, but still you didn't have a dad then. And you realized that you've been dealing with a lifetime of emotional abuse from your mom. Recently, she threatened to kill herself after you confronted her about her dismissiveness toward you. That is like textbook bad parenting. Mm-hmm. You talk to her about her dismissing you, which is in any relationship, you're going to have to talk about hurts, right? If it's going to get better. And then she says she needs to die. So I can't diagnose anybody. I'm not a therapist and I don't know your mom, but I'll just tell you, it sure sounds like a classical bullet point definition if you Google narcissism. Mm-hmm. I got a criticism, so I have to die. That's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Then she said, in family therapy, oh, that was just a joke. And she learned it from some coworkers that she used to work with. What? Yeah. How confusing. No, it's not a joke. It's not funny. I sure hope the therapist said something about it. You didn't really describe that, but you did say that the whole session she spent literally screaming at you about something. So she doesn't sound like somebody who's capable of working out problems or listening or, trying to find a solution to anything. It sounds like she's somebody utterly bubbled in with her own emotions and desires and thoughts. And that, I'm sad to say that she can't see you or hear you. It's like you don't really exist. So the therapist was too overwhelmed to intervene. And I could see how that would happen with somebody
Too overwhelmed to intervene. Like, this sounds like, to me, my whole life I've felt like nobody has ever stood up for me. Times when I have had the courage to be like, hey, like, this isn't right, like, you're hurting me, what you're doing is wrong. The people around me often just sort of cowered and acted like I was the one creating the problem, which hammered home this idea that I was bad, which my mom was already constantly hammering home herself. So yeah, I do really hope that therapist did say something, because there's no like deeper hurt than just like being hurt by someone with witnesses who won't do or say anything, like they want to like stay neutral or whatever. And like, it's totally okay to like not want to like get involved or like not want to like be in the middle, but when someone's like actively being abusive towards you and nobody ever has your back, it's the most painful thing like to experience. It makes you feel like you're just completely worthless. It makes you feel like you you mean nothing to no one. And eventually it trains your brain to think that when people are mean to me, I deserve it. And, even though I don't understand why or what I've done, I must. And that's another thing too, being like, if I don't understand why someone's abusing me and I feel that I deserve it, not knowing why makes me feel even worse, because I should know what it is that I've done, right? Like, I should know why this person is treating me this way, and the fact that I can't figure out what it is that I'm doing wrong makes me feel like I must just be inherently bad because I behave in a way that makes someone be abusive towards me and I don't even know what it is that I'm doing. It must mean that I really am just naturally like God-given bad.
Screaming, I'm sorry you went through that. You put your good faith that you would get some help and they couldn't. That's when you decided to stop family therapy. Okay, good. Distance yourself and just focus on your own individual healing. Yay, Rose, you go. That's the way. You got it. All right. My biggest resentment I have toward her is her not protecting me when I came to her for help after her boyfriend molested me. I have kids, and I will tell you, if that had ever happened, this is the thing. There's stuff that happened to me when I was a kid. My parents had some good points, some bad points, but I couldn't really see it fully until I had my own kids. This might happen to you if you decide to have kids. I couldn't really see like what it takes to actually, like for a parent to turn their back on a child who is being harmed in that way and not deal with it. Like once I had my own kids, I was just floored. Like, I literally cannot imagine how anybody could allow that to happen. I felt so, concerned about them.
And funny thing about that too is my mom my whole life always said, you'll understand when you have children of your own. You'll understand when you have children of your own. And now that I have my own son, I understand even less. I understand even less of why she behaved the way that she did.
And so my heart was just so extended to them, and are they okay, and how was that for them? And of course occasionally some bad things happen to them, and then trying to help them navigate that. I would never ever do that. And so for me, I just would say any parent who turns their back and brings a boyfriend in for 6 years who just molested their child right in front of them. And okay, let's say she's not lying and she didn't see it, but you told her the next day that you were a preteen. So what, you were 11 or 12 or something? And you told her this happened? Like, kids don't tend to lie about this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Rose, this is just terrible. She didn't believe you, or she didn't see it. And you even, first of all, I just want to give you a hug and say, as an 11 or 12-year-old or whatever you were, you told her, you stood up for yourself. That is such a good part of you that knows that that wasn't supposed to happen. You did not internalize that. This is your strength, okay? You recognize this is her. This is her failing you. And you did not fail yourself. You didn't fail your.
And there's no like deeper hurt than like having the one person that you're supposed to trust like so much tell you that something didn't happen, especially if they witnessed it. It is such like a mind blowing thing because you not only feel so betrayed, but you genuinely don't know what's real. You know, like if I was there and she was there and I'm saying this happened and she's saying it didn't happen, then like what did happen? What does happen? What's happening right now? It's the most like painful and confusing thing.
You told her. So you confronted her and she said, that didn't happen. That just bothers me so much. Then he lived with you guys for 6 years. Gosh, I hope he didn't keep messing with you. You go right into saying, letting go of resentment and finding forgiveness has been my biggest struggle in my healing process. I'll say, you know what? I just want to say, like, the idea of letting go of resentment and finding forgiveness, like, that's really good. And I want to tell you something. I've said this before. You might want to think of these things. Now, resentment is something that I teach people how to get free of through the daily practice exercises I teach. If anybody's interested, fear, resentment, it's like too much for you and you feel like it's distorting your reality, which is basically what CPTSD is like. There's a link to that course. It's free. It's down in the description section in every video I make. But letting go of resentment when she's still actively manipulating you and trying to just like mind F you into her little story of how she's great and you're the problem. I don't know. Forgiveness. Okay, so here's my concept of forgiveness. Sometimes forgiveness arrives in our hearts. But I don't think that when somebody is actively abusing you, that you are obliged to go in there and be like, I'm just going to make myself forgive them. I'm not going to be the bad guy here holding it against them. Because the thing is, when the abuse is still going on and you grew up with this, you need more than anything to have a boundary on it, you know? You need a way to not just have a physical boundary where she doesn't get to talk to you like that. You can hang up the phone or get away from her. But you have a psychological boundary where you're like, here comes her crazy statements again, her little narrative. It's not true, it's not me. Like, that's your mental and psychological boundary, and you need that. So I would not worry right now about trying to talk yourself out of feeling hurt and angry about this. I don't want you to have your life run by anger, but I'm not hearing that here. You're telling me very matter of fact. She wrote a group message, like a text to you and your fiance, and now you're dysregulated. So you asked me for a reality check. This is where I had trouble keeping a straight face. Hi, Sam and Rose. I hope you're both doing well and that wedding planning is going smoothly. Very appropriate, Mom. That sounds like what moms say. Mm-hmm. I wanted to wait until all the tests were done and an indefinite diagnosis was confirmed, but I also didn't want to regret not saying my goodbyes just in case. Oh my gosh. So, all right, I wasn't her doctor, but you're saying you're quoting her. I've been suffering persistent, painful headaches and dizziness going on day 6 now. Okay. So she's had a headache for 6 days and some dizziness. And now she has to write to you and go, because I might be dying. I'm sorry, but
my mom did this really weird, sick thing to me on that day that she asked me to help her commit suicide, where she said that the doctor asked her, had anything triggering happened to her within the last couple of months, and she sort of went through like, you know, I can't really think of anything except for Dad, you know, during Dad's passing. And then she went, can you? and I was like, I don't know, but I know that what she was trying to do was paint our conversation where I confronted her about her abusive behavior before, which escalated into like a very loud and angry conversation. I know that she was like trying to sort of paint that as the reason she had a stroke and was trying to blame me for it. And what's so fucked up about that is like no one can corroborate that, you know, like nobody can be like, she didn't say it directly, she didn't, but I know as her daughter of 36 years, I know that that's what she was doing, and because she's done stuff like that for my whole life. So when she like paused and was like, can you think of anything traumatic that maybe I went through that might have caused this stroke, I know that that's what she was doing. And
Aches and dizziness have 100 other reasons they could be there. This is high drama, histrionics. And she had it for going on day 6 now, in which she was bedridden in the first 3 days. Yeah, that sounds like when I had COVID and then again when I had a cold recently. Okay. Urgent care doctor wanted to rule out stress versus brain tumor or aneurysm in the head. Well, a bad headache, so yep, you got an MRI tomorrow. Meanwhile, my symptoms persist while I'm working more hours to support 3 dev teams. Okay, so here's the poor suffering mom. All I'm going through, I just need to tell you. And this is her, like, congratulations. I hope wedding planning is going well. Not really. Mm-hmm. You said later, is this a cry for help? It sure is. It's a cry for pity. Okay, it's so hard for her. I'm sorry. It's just so irrational for her to announce that she might be saying her goodbyes. Just in case. It just makes me mad. I'm sorry. I don't usually like let myself be so like contemptuous, but it makes me mad, Rose, that she treated you that way, that she allowed the abuse, and then she gives you this BS. Okay, Rose, she says, I'd said that I couldn't go back in time.
When my mom tried to commit suicide twice when I was in my early 20s, the way that she like told me was that she left me these voicemails that said, Katie Lee, I'll never forget. It was like, Katie Lee, you are the light of my life, the apple of my eye, my greatest joy. I just want you to know that I love you forever. Goodbye. And I'll never forget the goodbye at the end. And of course I freaked. I had to leave work, like, you know, made like in like this huge big thing of me being like, I've gotta go. I you know, I can't explain why, like, you know, I'll have to deal with the consequences later, possibly losing my job, driving all the way over to my mom's house, like every stoplight, me thinking my mom's gonna be dead. Like I was like going through stoplights and shit and just driving, like I could have hurt myself or somebody else, like trying to get to the house. And that like saying my goodbyes, like that's like triggering for me to hear, because that's like exactly what my mom did to me.
To undo the hurts that I had unintentionally caused you in your childhood for doing what I thought was right at the time, given what I had and could. I had attempted to correct my actions and responses, but they weren't good enough nor acceptable. This is so like, this just bothers me so much. But you wouldn't let it be good enough that I denied everything. I can't go back in time and change it. That's not an apology. Rose, I'm just...
Yep, put a pin in it is what my mom loves to say. Like, we need to just put a pin in this and just move on.
To say what you deserve to hear from your mom. Oh my God, honey, I am so sorry that I didn't listen to you and believe you and act on it the minute you told me what was happening. That was a terrible thing that happened to you. It never should have happened, and it was my responsibility to stop it from happening. I failed you. I'm so sorry. I know that it made a huge negative difference in your life and hurt you, and right now, I just want you to know that I'm here to hear you and care about you and support you in any way I can to heal from this. I hope you can forgive my terrible, terrible behavior. Rose, that's what you deserve to hear. This is just bullshit. I'm sorry what she's saying here. What I did for you was never good enough nor acceptable. Blaming you like it's like you just withheld acceptance for her from this non-apology. Hence we are where we are now. No, that's not why you are where you are right now. You're where you are right now is because she let you be abused. And she didn't believe you. And she continues to treat you in this manipulative manner now. You say, that's where we are now, a total disconnection. Because you wouldn't accept it. It just bothers me. Nevertheless, I will always love you and forgive everything that was said and done that brought me heartaches and sadness.
Now.
Okay. All right, there it is, okay? What a wonderful mom. She will forgive you for all that you did to bring her heartache and sadness. Wow.
What a
all
sweetheart.
right. Okay, now here's a classic narcissist mom move. I'm just going to say, I can't diagnose, but this is it. Now, Sam, on the other hand, the man, you are an extraordinary, loving, and caring, considerate human being the best I've ever met in my entire life. And I'm so thankful and proud that you're going to be my future son-in-law. My. Okay. You will be a wonderful husband to Rose and an amazing father. Thank you for making our lives so joyful. I will never, it's just like a script she's following. What is the mother of the bride supposed to say? And it's all, blah, 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 blah. And I assume Sam loves you and is a good person. And Sam sees through this, and Sam is not here to bring joy to her, and Sam has your back. Love always, Mom. Yep. I've always loved you and celebrated you as the son I wish to have. Okay. It must, you didn't say anything, but it hurt me on your behalf that she just put you down so badly, but then he got all the praise. But whatever. That's what people like her do. That's what they do. That's what she has to do to keep a wall of denial up around what she did. And I can only imagine like the shame and guilt that a person feels if they know on some tiny little level underneath all that BS that they allowed their child to be abused in such a terrible way, and that they covered it up, they lied, they didn't believe the child, they just had to have the man, right? Rose, then you said, my gut tells me this is a cry for attention. Yes, your gut is good, your gut is telling you right. But I have a hard time trusting my perception. Your perception is good, Rose. Trust your perception. She wants attention. That's what people like her do. To me, the message felt unapologetic. Yep. Guilting. Yep. Blame shifting. Exactly. And manipulative. Yes, yes, yes. I hope your therapist is helping you with this. I would appreciate your take on this and your suggestions on how to proceed. If you decide to have her at your wedding, and I say if, because I think that I'm not like somebody who goes in and goes, you really need to get people out of your life. You need to do that. It's up to you. It's up to you whether you want her at the wedding. But just know there's going to be more of this, and it's going to accelerate close to the wedding. Here's you getting together with like a good guy, and all her feelings about like who she had and she got denied. The knives are going to be out. All right. That's what I predict. And is that really what you want for your wedding? Of course, if you tell her she can't come, obviously, the knives are going to be out and all this pressure is going to come. But what some people do when they have an abusive parent like this is they cut off contact and block them so the person can't contact them through something. And yes, there would be hell to pay forever. Okay, option B is you let her come, and then you come up with what I call ninja boundaries for how to not let her affect your day. And that means she cannot have time with you before the wedding. I mean, especially I would say that week before the wedding, like no contact, she can come. When you set ninja boundaries, the best thing you can do with an abusive person is keep it so subtle that they don't even know you're doing it. Because a person like her, if she knows that you're trying to set boundaries, it implies a criticism of her, and what's she going to do about that? You know what she's going to do. She's going to threaten to kill herself, or she's going to come out and tell you what a terrible person you are and how much you've hurt her. All right? Just flip-flop, flip-flop. Blame, attack, manipulate, or these.
Yeah, that was huge when my mom crossed this boundary with me that she had just consistently been crossing, where she, since I was a little girl, would talk about my dad in a very like sexual way, but also like in a derogatory way. So she would talk about the things that he would do in this way of, can you believe that your father did this? And like, I can't believe that he would do that. And I constantly was just like, please, Mom, please don't talk about my dad like this. Like, I really don't want to hear about these things. Like, please stop, please stop, please stop. I mean, I've been begging her. She would always answer back like, well, Jamie has no problem with it, my youngest sister. Well, she doesn't have a problem with it. We talk about sex stuff all the time, and so you should just talk about it too. And I was like, look, like, I don't, please stop talking to me about this, because it's so confusing. Because she would be like, oh, I hate your father. He hurt me. I had to tolerate all this like sexual abuse from him, and very specific about what those abuses were, which really, if I reflect back on it, like, it just kind of, those things just kind of sounded to me like they were, I don't know, like exploring or something. And I don't know, because I wasn't there, and also I don't want to friggin' think about it, but like, she would constantly drop these sexual weird stories about her sex life with my dad in our just normal everyday conversations, and I consistently asking her to stop. She did it again, like in one of our most recent conversations where I was just talking about the Elvis movie, and she started talking about something very weird and sexual, and I was like, Mom, please stop talking about this, please. And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I forget how much you loved your father." I forget how much you loved your father, she said to me. Which was like her way of like implying that somehow my love for him was misplaced or was wrong, or she like made something really beautiful. She was making something beautiful between us yucky, because I wasn't allowing her to be emotionally incestuous with me, as a way to like flip the hurt around. So when I said, hey, like, you're consistently crossing this boundary with me, I said, I don't feel safe with you. I don't feel like I can trust that you're going to respect my boundaries. And her response to that was to assassinate my character by telling me how untrustworthy I am as a person and why. So she started going through all these times that I was untrustworthy, and the very first thing that she pulled out was a time when I was 13 years old, when I was at a big slumber party, and one of my girlfriends said, "Hey, my grandma lives down the street. Excuse me, let's go visit her. It's just a couple minutes walk." And I asked another girl that was at the slumber party, like, "Hey, can you ask the chaperone if we can go?" She came back and said, yeah, she said it's fine. But she didn't. She actually lied. She didn't tell them where we were going or what our plans were. And so when we came back, cops were involved. There were people like freaking out. They thought that we had been abducted, all this crazy stuff. And when we were like, "Kelly, you told us it was okay to go," she denied and said that she didn't know what we were talking about. And so we looked like we had just ran away from the party and just did our own thing with not telling anybody. And she brought that story up as like a response to why I'm an untrustworthy person, because I just left that party and didn't tell anybody. And she didn't believe that I had asked someone for permission, Kelly being that girl. And she said, even if you had asked her, you should have known better to not go do that. And that's why you're untrustworthy, which is her response to me saying, I don't feel safe around you because you constantly violate this boundary that I've had with you, where please don't talk about sex with my father with me.
Like this is what I'm guessing, is this whole medical thing where she had a headache for 6 days and now she's dying. It sounds like maybe you were already trying to set a boundary and she had to crash the gates. Is that what happened? Am I guessing right? So, you know what? If she has a brain tumor and is dying, it still doesn't give her the right to come in and treat you badly. So you do not have to pick up the phone or look at texts or emails. You get to have a boundary. And so a way that you can do that gracefully with an abusive person is just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to have time to hang out before the wedding. I wish I could, but I can't. But I'll see you there. We've got a very nice seat reserved for you," and da-da-da. Then you enlist friends who are not in the wedding party, who know what's going on, and who can help you, who care enough about you to try to shepherd her away from you, to let you have your good day, to just let you have your good day. And then I want you to, don't worry about forgiving her or forgetting her. What I want you to put all your energy into is letting go of any guilt or sense of responsibility that you have to keep her from harming herself or keep her from feeling bad. I feel like you're doing pretty well, but I just want to give you 100% permission. That's the way. That's what I'm recommending, okay? Just do not give this woman any energy. And it's funny because when somebody is playing this game with you, Sometimes you can just sort of say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so worried, I hope that MRI goes good. Yeah, let us know how it goes. And then just get off the phone. You just say the thing that's going to make them be quiet and get out of there. Don't give them your time and your mental attention where they can get in and hurt you. All right? I hope that helps. I'm really sorry. I hope Sam is amazing for you. I hope this is a new chapter in your life where you get to turn the page. You certainly have my blessings to cut her out of your life and block contact. And you're probably only the second person I've ever said that to on this channel. I'm always like the champion of like keeping open channels, but she doesn't sound to me like somebody who's ever going to get it. So for you to be happy, if there ever comes a day when you can tolerate somebody acting like this without it like grabbing you by the head and sucking you back down into that bad place where you think you're no good and you don't deserve to be cared for, it's not worth it, okay? It's not worth it. This does not sound like somebody capable of looking at herself. So Mazel Tov, blessings for your wedding. I hope everything is beautiful and continues to be a happy life for you. And for everybody watching, if you love this topic and you want to learn more about setting boundaries and why you can't just expect people to respect your boundaries, but you have to act on them, I've got this video lined up for you right here, and I will see you very soon.
Interesting. You can't expect people to respect your boundaries. Man. Okay, let's check this out. Do you have CPTSD? Take the quiz. Okay, so I feel like I definitely do, but let's take this quiz together and see what happens. Oh my God, what a sad picture. Aha. Okay. Oh, I see. I have to just stay on YouTube. Got it. All right, let's check out some of these comments here. When you gave the apology to Rose that she should have heard from her mother, it resonated with me deeply. For sure. Pour one out for the truth tellers who were never believed and never got the justice they deserved. Fucking yes. Personally, I can forgive unintentional transgressions, but one of my boundaries is to not overlook abusive patterns and not forgive the abuser. The fact that this woman did not defend her young daughter is unforgivable. Rose, you may begin the healing process once your mother is removed from your life. When I was 11, I found out that the next door neighbor was abusing me. You found out? She sat me on my bed, told me she knew, and explained that no one is allowed to touch my body if I didn't want them to. It felt like it shifted all the blame onto me. I didn't want it to happen. It was embarrassing, and once he abused me in front of an audience of peers. When I tried to approach my mom about my childhood, she asked me if we were still really blaming our parents. Yo. Okay, this is the weird. My mom always is like, well, I guess every child just grows up to hate their parents. Like, that's the thing that she says. She's like, that's just what happens. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. I love your passion and how you provided the real apology that Rose deserved. Okay. I'm going to need surgery to correct the damage I did from rolling my eyes so hard. That is hilarious. Okay. All right. Let's watch another one. "63 things that a narcissistic mother says."
Do narcissistic parents have a handbook or something?
63?
Well, you might think so after you hear what I'm going to share with you today. After a poll of the Spanily support group for ACONs, or adult children of narcissistic parents.
What? Acons. I'm gonna check that out. Let's see. Oh, useful. Okay, look at this photo. Adult children of narcissists, born and raised in a narcissistic family. Do you have a parent who's a narcissist? Okay, yes, we already know that.
I've compiled a list of the most commonly used phrases by narcissistic mothers. In the near future, I will also compile a commonly used list of phrases by narcissistic fathers. So if you have anything to add to that video, please leave it in the comments below. So that's what we're talking about today at queenbeing.com. Narcissistic mothers and the things that they say in certain situations. This will help you to identify if you have a narcissistic mother, as well as helping you to understand her language and what exactly all of that means. So let's get started.
Closed captioning provided by Athena Moberg and CPTSDFoundation.org.
My name's Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. Do you have or did you have a narcissistic mother? If so, you may have been neglected or you may have been controlled. With narcissistic mothers, the spectrum is broad. You have mothers who go all the way from completely neglecting and ignoring their children to the other end of the spectrum, where you have mothers who completely control every single move their child makes. But if you did have a narcissistic mother, then you know that there's one thing they almost all have in common, and that is that they had very little empathy for you and very little patience for you as an individual. Now, if you'd like me to do a video about the spectrum of narcissistic mothers and kind of talk about each type of narcissistic mother, then please leave me a comment below and let me know that, and I'll add it to my list for next week. So let's get into the things that narcissistic mothers say and why they say those things. What do narcissistic mothers say when you make a choice they don't agree with? You only did that to hurt me. You're so ungrateful. You never stop to think. You are so selfish. This is never going to work. How about some things that narcissistic mothers say when you're upset or you're crying about anything, and the mothers are annoyed by your emotions, which of course they feel are not real or relevant? Get over it. You're so dramatic.
Oh my god, I was just talking about that. Get a grip, she said, when I was like, when you tried to commit suicide, it stayed with me forever and I still carry that. She said, get a grip.
I'll give you something to cry about. I told you so. Why do things always affect you more than other people? These are the choices that you have made. Side note, these are the choices that you have made was a big favorite of my own narcissist parent. And in that situation, this was thrown at me anytime anything happened wrong in my life. For example, when I got divorced from my first husband, who was also a narcissist, I remember the first night that I left, I was required to go to this couples only bowling party. And of course, I was no longer a couple. And so here I am, just having left my husband. I was devastated. I was destroyed emotionally. And I was crying the whole night. I couldn't stop crying. That evening, when we got back to the place I was staying, my narcissist parent attacked me and said that I needed to get over myself. I needed to move on. These are the choices that you have made. You have to deal with these choices. It was not good. But I managed and I got through. I guess in some way that led me here to you today. So, water under the bridge. Let's move on. What types of things do narcissistic mothers say when you attempt to confront them about their behavior or abuse or anything they've done to you? What is wrong with you? You're making too much out of nothing.
Yes.
I never did that. You're just...
I never did that. I never did that. Oh, there's nothing more crazy making than somebody telling you that they didn't do something that you know that they did. Like, it's just so wild. And it's like, even, I don't know, it's like even if they didn't do that exact thing, which they did, there's still so many things exactly like that they did, that it's like it doesn't even matter. It shouldn't. Oh my god, it's fucking ridiculous.
sensitive. I don't remember it that way.
I don't remember it that way. That's another great one too. Well, that's not how I remember it. I remember, and she'll even say that about stuff that she wasn't there to do. Like, recently, my sister, she just left me at a party, just got up and left. And when I told her that hurt my feelings, she just shut down on me and just blocked me out. And when I told my mom about it, she said, well, she felt like you sort of just left her at the party. And I was like, how can that even make sense? Like, she's the one that physically left the party. Like, how can that even make sense? And she's like, well, she doesn't remember it that way. And like, she was like defending my sister when all signs point to the fact that it's like there's no disputing that she left me at that party, but my mom was choosing to side with my sister and say, I believe my sister who doesn't remember it that way. Like, it's just crazy.
I don't care. Now, what happens if you prove a narcissistic mother wrong or you have a different opinion than them? What kinds of things do they say then? You think you're so smart. I have no idea what you're talking about. Who told you that? You're so gullible. You can't believe everything people say. What types of things do narcissistic mothers say when you question their authority? Don't you dare look at me like that. Get that look off your face before I slap it off. Who do you think you are? How dare you question me? And what kind of things do narcissistic mothers say when they're guilt tripping you? You know a narcissistic mother loves a good guilt trip. I will die without you. You're breaking my heart. You are the reason your father and I divorced. You only care about yourself. I've given up my whole life for you.
Yes,
you owe me this because I gave you life. I'm the only one who will ever really love you. You're so ungrateful. And you know that just like all narcissists, narcissistic mothers love to devalue you and tear you down. So what kinds of things do they say when they're in that process of devaluing you and destroying you as an individual? You were a mistake. Everything in my life is your fault because you were born. You're just like insert awful individual here.
Ugh.